wanted more timeskip videos, so with this video today we are starting a new series called New Timeskip, where we talk about all aspects of the future in Black Clover after the second timeskip. And today the focus is on Astas Father, who will play the most important role in Black Clover. First I will explain why there will be a second timeskip, and then I will show everything we know about Astas Father so far. Who is he, when he will be introduced, and what impact he will have on the entire series. Will Astas Father train Asta and Liebe? Also, only a small percentage of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy the video, let's go. Before we deal directly with Astas Father, we must first explain the next timeskip. For this, I would like to take you on a journey in Yuki Tabata's mind. The following explanation is extremely important and will only take you about 2-3 minutes. And then we will talk about Astas Father. A shonen battle series like Black Clover, which should have about 700 chapters, usually doesn't just have a small time skip of only 6 months after only about 250 chapters. One of Yuki Tabata's, the author of Black Clover, main inspiration was always Dragon Ball. This inspiration is extremely underrated in the Black Clover community. People always compare Black Clover to Berserk. That's understandable as it inspired most of the world building in Black Clover, but it's not the only inspiration. Yuki Tabata's writing style in particular resembles Akira Toriyama in many aspects. This comes from the fact that Tabata's dream of becoming a manga artist stems from his hobby of reading the Dragon Ball manga when he was young, and so we can see a lot of similarities between the two shows. Both main characters are muscular as hell, both born with the lowest expectations of one day becoming strong. In both shows, almost all villains later become allies. Both shows use ki, the concept of fusions, transformations, the ability to fly, resurrection. The main character has a rival who is a prince of a conquered kingdom or destroyed planet, and most importantly, both shows are divided into sagas. I'm sure if you think a little bit further, you will find a lot more similarities, such as Seke and Mr. Satan, or the healing food that was inspired by the senzu beans, and much more. And in Dragon Ball, there are several time skips, especially after almost every saga. And here's the thing about sagas. In the Shonen Jump industry, manga artists don't usually see a difference between sagas and arcs. Mainly because series, especially nowadays, have standardized a certain length that doesn't require putting a bunch of arcs into a specific saga. However, in an interview, Tabata explicitly stated that he was about to end the first saga in Black Clover. And it came just like Tabata said, the Elf Reincarnation arc was the final climax of the Elf saga, and with the 6-month time skip, the second saga of Black Clover was introduced, which we can call the Devil Saga. So when Yuki Tabata explained that he was almost done with the first saga, and confirmed that he tries to make Black Clover as long as Naruto or longer, then logically there are at least 2 more sagas. Otherwise, when asked how far the story has already developed, he could have simply answered that we reached 50% if there were only 2 sagas in total. In connection with his statement that Black Clover should possibly be as long as Naruto, meaning about 700 chapters, there should be at least 3 sagas, which corresponds perfectly to the length of 700 chapters. So everything Tabata said about the progression of the story fits perfectly to the conclusion of Black Clover having 3 sagas in total, with at least 1 more saga after the current Devil Saga, so we can definitely expect another time skip that will most likely last longer than just 6 months. Now that we have explained why the general idea of a second time skip is very likely, let's move on to how Astas Father can influence Asta during the time skip. Before we continue, a quick thank you for 18,000 subscribers, 1,000 more subscribers in such a short time. Thank you very much and welcome to the community. And if you like this new series and videos about the second time skip and want me to continue, please leave a like. Let's try to get 2,000 likes. That will definitely show me your interest in this project. Let's continue. Astas Father's identity is the greatest secret that has yet to be revealed. So far, we know little about Astas Father, but we have some clues that can help us to understand more about who he might be. The biggest reference to Astas Father is Asta himself because he is his son. So if we want to understand who Astas Father is, we have to understand who Asta is. In the world of Black Clover, we definitely know the possibility of hybrids, so that some don't even realize they are a hybrid and only discover this when transforming. But why am I talking about hybrids? Well, we know that Asta's mother is most likely human, but that doesn't automatically make Asta a full human too. Just like in the case of Charmy, who is usually in her dwarf form, Asta could also be in his human form all the time. So we cannot assume that Asta's father is definitely a human. But do we even have the slightest indication that Asta could be a hybrid? There are actually quite a few. For example, the theory that Asta and Liebe are actually real siblings when you consider that they both look completely alike. But not only that, based on their character profiles, we know that Liebe was found by Lisita just 1 day before she left Asta. This means that Asta was left on the same day that Liebe was thrown from the underworld. This means that Lisita acquired the knowledge about devils together with the 5-leaf clover Grimoire even before she left Asta. That Lisita knows that not all devils are evil is the strongest indication that she most likely met the devil before. All of this leads to the idea that Asta and Liebe are somehow connected to another devil, who is most likely their father. Furthermore, the inhuman strength of Asta definitely suggests that Asta might be different from a normal human. Asta is physically much stronger and faster than a normal human can be without the use of magic. Also, at first we thought that Liebe might be the person who owned the grimoire and just let Asta use it, but Liebe confirmed that he was only sealed in the grimoire, and for reasons unknown, Asta literally received the grimoire. From Zagreus we know devils can use 5-leaf clover grimoires, which is probably why Liebe can use it too, considering that Nacht said Liebe and Asta were somehow connected. We know from Tabata that the original owner of a grimoire loses ownership when a 4-leaf clover grimoire turns into a 5-leaf clover. The fact that Asta was chosen by a 5-leaf clover grimoire is therefore very questionable, but what's even more important and strange is the fact that Asta can use a 5-leaf clover grimoire even though he is supposedly only human. This may indicate that Asta might actually be a devil hybrid. The mysterious additional devil marks on Asta's face that appear in his devil unit mode Black Guardian are definitely not part of Liebe either. Perhaps due to the devil unit mode and the fact that Asta is merging with the devil, his own devil features become visible, and these markings are just Asta's own natural devil markings in his own devil form. You see, there are many indications pointing to the possibility that Asta could be a devil hybrid. And not only Black Clover hints the possibility that Asta is a devil hybrid, but also Yuki Tabata's previous manga Hungry Joker, which unfortunately was cancelled after just 24 chapters. Why is that important? Hungry Joker and Black Clover are basically almost identical, and it makes sense. Before Tabata released Hungry Joker, he worked months, if not even a year, on the story before publishing in Shonen Jump. There's no way Tabata could reveal even the slightest of Hungry Joker in just 20 chapters. It's pretty obvious that Yuki Tabata was taking the plans he had for Hungry Joker into a new story with more appealing world building. This is how Black Clover was born. But why am I telling you this? The main character in Hungry Joker found out that he was a hybrid between a human and a devil. We will just call it the devil for simplicity, but in Hungry Joker it is actually called Marvel. The main character's assistant is a smart scientist. She obviously looks like Sally, who herself can be described as something like a scientist in the magical world. As the show progressed, the assistant's job was to understand the genetics of the main character. Because of her research, she was able to invent a performance-enhancing pill. And in Black Clover we have Sally, who has been very important from the beginning of Black Clover and always wanted to understand Asta's body, obsessed with experimenting on him. This has been hinted since the first time when Sally met Asta, and only recently her deep desire to understand Asta's body was fulfilled, when she was allowed to take a sample of his DNA, which she used for her research. Because of her research, she was able to invent certain items. This is exactly the same thing that happened in Hungry Joker. You see, it's completely the same plot, just applied in a different way. So if Asta is really a hybrid, like the main character in Hungry Joker, and both series keeps on following the same plot points, then Sally has most likely been able to find out all the secrets about Asta's body. Like for example, why he has no mana and whether he might even be a hybrid. Everything leads to the point that we can at least assume that it is possible that Asta could be a devil hybrid, which would fit perfectly with the theory that Asta and Liebe could be real siblings. And with this, we will then find the first clue to Asta's father. Given that Asta is really a devil hybrid, then logically, Asta's father must also be a devil. And before you think that there was no way Asta's mother could have had something with the devil, let's be honest. We have seen humans with elves, dwarves with humans, and we all know what this means. And based on demonology, we know that devils could look very similar to angels, and therefore similar to humans. We also know that not all devils are evil, so I wouldn't think it's unlikely that Lisita could have had something with the devil. After all, she knew that not all devils are bad. She knew everything about devils. She had a 5-leaf clover grimoire, knew about the 5-leaf clover rumors, and happened to find Liebe just one day after dropping off Asta at the church. There are so many clues that leads to the idea that Asta's father could be a devil. The most popular theory in Black Clover fandom is that Asta might have something to do with the devil Astaroth. Many people believe that Astaroth is the father of Asta and Liebe, which means that Liebe's real devil name could be Roth. Believe this theory or not, it is the most popular one. It has been discussed so often that it is literally part of all Black Clover channels here on YouTube, and therefore there is really no need to repeat everything. If Astaroth is really Asta's father, then based on demonology, Astaroth should be a clifford devil and represent the second to last gate of the underworld. Also, demonology describes that he is not an evil devil, and considering that he could be Asta's father, the description would make sense, as Lysita herself said, not all devils are evil. When all this is true, Asta and Liebe will face their father Astaroth already in this Spade Kingdom arc. That being said, if everything happens as we described, then there must be a reason Asta was left on the same day Liebe was thrown from the underworld. Whether it was Astaroth himself who threw Liebe out of the underworld, in which he simply turned into another devil, because he wanted to protect Liebe from the devil's hierarchy, or whether he just saw his son being thrown out of the underworld and thus asked Lysita to take care of Liebe, which therefore was also the reason why she left Asta. Asta had to be left at the church because many devils have seen Liebe enter the human world, and therefore Lucifero will most likely find out about it and one day come for Liebe, which she did. I mean, she literally brought Asta to the church, so obviously Asta is immune against Lysita, especially because she was pregnant with him. Because of Lucifero, Asta will no longer be safe with Lysita. That is why Astaroth may have been the one who could even have given Lysita the 5-leaf clover Grimoire, so that one day she could see Liebe to protect him from Lucifero. This plot fits perfectly and will definitely mean that their father, whether he's Astaroth or some other devil, is not evil. But what exactly will happen? I think we can all agree that Astaroth would fight alongside his sons. It would be pretty surprising to see that Astas Father is actually evil. I wouldn't mind, but it will go against the typical Shonen Jump roots. No matter how and when this arc or saga ends. If Astas Father survives the war, I would love to see Astas Father train Asta and Liebe so that they can both learn the true power of the devils. Speaking of the true devil power, we know that humans have developed so many different techniques like runes, traps, ultimate magic, mana methods, mana zone, mana skin, and so on. While it seems like every race or even every country has its own techniques. All of these cannot be used by Asta and Liebe, as both have no mana. It would make sense if devils have some kind of devil techniques that only devils know, and maybe even only the devils can use. Maybe not even based on mana. And the first and only thing that immediately comes to mind is the devil fusion. We have already seen the devil fusion with Lilith and Ama, and also with Nacht's two devils, so that Nacht could make a devil union together with both devils. Nacht has already confirmed that Asta and Liebe has not yet fully mastered the devil unit mod Black Guardian, so this is one more thing that both of them have yet to learn. And I believe that the full mastered form of Asta's and Liebe's Black Guardian will be a devil fusion, especially because both have an equal human-devil contract, unlike Nacht for example, who takes the power of his devils. And who is a better teacher than a high-ranking devil? Nacht is good for the knowledge that he has already shown, but he is and will always be just a devil host with only 4 mid-ranking devils. Astaroth on the other hand will be one of the highest devils of the highest class, the Cliffeth devil of the second to last gate of the underworld. Imagine having him as a teacher. If the power level in Black Clover continues to rise so drastically, then both Asta and Liebe will need serious training, and not just for 6 months. Asta needs to improve his physical skills and fighting techniques, while Liebe needs to work on his anti-magic abilities. There's just so much more potential to anti-magic that Liebe needs to master. Both must learn to use the final form of the Black Guardian, in which both merge equally. And not that only Liebe gives Asta his devil power so that Asta can use anti-magic, but that both parties, Asta and Liebe, equally can merge into one person. I believe this is what Nacht meant when he said that they have not mastered the form yet. This is the whole point of an equal human contract, while the first stage rather reminds me of Nacht's devil unit mode, and not the real fusion. I would like to see how Asta and Liebe leaves the Magic Knights and the Clover Kingdom to train with Astaroth for at least 2 years. If the father is really Astaroth from demonology, then the reason he has an interest in training Asta and Liebe is because, as mentioned earlier, he is not necessarily an evil devil, and in demonology, Astaroth is interested in human affairs and distances himself from evil devils. That the devils want to destroy humanity goes against his intentions. In addition, he does not like the devil hierarchy and stands for equal treatment. This character design of course only applies if Tabata will design Astaroth based on demonology. And if their father is a devil but not Astaroth, then obviously he must still have an interest in protecting his sons, and therefore to protect the human world. This video was a mix of many of our theories with some new good information, and serves as an introduction to our new video series about the future time skip in Black Clover. The next video will have a whole new aspect of the future of Black Clover. Let us know in the comments what topics you would like to see in the next few videos. Remember, it must have something to do with the next time skip. We will try to publish the second part next week. Let me know in the comments what you think. Could Astas Father really be Astaroth, and if so, do you think he will be training Asta and Liebe? I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, like the video. This helps me a lot to understand if you really enjoyed the content and if I should continue this video series. If you are new, subscribe if you would like to see more Black Clover content. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new videos. Otherwise, YouTube won't notify you. Thank you for watching and see you next time here on Yunami. Bye.